has noticed our topics for today. So we have also shared these previously. So this comes from Blue, from a suggestion from Blue, that of course it is kind of like easier when you share before the meeting, so you can have like an elaborate opinion, insights, and you can have questions, and that works better. So if you notice, we started doing this quarter, um, and I hope that that helps with the participation, and most importantly for us receiving feedback. Okay. Um, as I mentioned, a lot to do with the first topic, that it's the proposal with the AVCs and the AVCs members. It has to do with Marian's post. So it kind of like deepens a little bit more from our position document, and I'm going to like point out the power or the roles of AVCs and AVCs members. So I'm gonna just go in here. So before um, putting into this, I believe that it's important to mention the highlights of our documents. So um, the reason why we decided like to change the structure, it's basically because during the last quarter we had very interesting discussions that um due to the structure that we have in all of our previous position documents, that if you see, we're like very structured, and with the section and with everything, it's like a real constitution, right? And so, but that is great, and we like that, but the downside is that sometimes if we didn't have a proposal that was like finished, or um that we received like enough feedback to present it, we just didn't send it, and that was it. So with this new structure, what we want is like to have even our perspective, our ideas, even if it's not like the final proposal, so we can like receive from them feedback, or maybe from an idea that we have been discussing, um, any aid could like take it and then make it a proposal. And so that's the main reason. And um also, since for the first quarter we have different discussion and debates, and not only that, but we have feedback and opinions from 80s and from different ecosystem actors that was not shown in our documents. And so this way, if you notice, we have kind of like thanks to the perspective, we have like help us to have found an opinion as an ABC. And now, with Marian's posts, that personally I agree to a lot of what the post is about, and the questions that he asked, and that comes also with this specific proposal. So that what happens is that, okay, maybe for ABCs or for the members, it's clear, but it's not that clear, or it's not as specific, and it's not in detail in the atlas. So let's move into this part. So the first one is distinction between an ABC and its ABC members. We have been discussing this internally. We have been discussing this in our calls as well, right? So what that says in this scope, in the governance scopes, and in section 5.2.4.1, it says that an ABC is marked as active status if it has fulfilled every requirement in the previous quarter, and establish that an ABC has failed to fulfill its requirement for two consecutive quarter, is no longer considered an ABC. We talked about this. We received feedback from Clocky, from TrueName, from different delegates from different ecosystem actors. So we believe that this is also something that there should be like an official proposal. And we kind of like have these questions. Some of them made it during the call, but we didn't receive answers, so that's why we want to make them again. So should the act of misalignment and the sanctions to several AVC members affect the entire AVC? Should the AVC also be recognized and removed? Okay, so internally we have been discussing this as well. Okay, but isn't the answer pretty obvious? Like it the atlas actually says this. Um, but I think this is the perfect time to discuss if it's. Oh, I see. I was not reading the chat. I see that there's a lot of. Focus as drafter has very recently turned into governance security. Yeah, actually, that would have made a lot of sense. That's why also Julia Chan, the AD in Sovereign Finance channel, also kind of like suggest for us to also take into account the topic for governance security. And just before I forget, we are trying to have DOIs for uh, is it protocol scope. So if you have fucking all the drafters and everyone like have questions specific, please send us because it's going to be very very helpful. But yes, that helps a lot. And we're gonna talk about this, but if you have any advice for about what you are doing, um you can also start posting on the chat. There is expected to be an update pertaining to Atlas. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, from LB's post with more details about this, right, Clocky? Clocky says we primarily focus on the governance security that the town posted months ago. It will act as primary input to the governance security article. Oh yes, and also thank you. Marianne has also shared what I'm discussing in the chat. Thank you. Okay. So I'm so glad that are a lot of comments in the chat. So Pedro says, I've noticed that during Key's AVC meeting, you discussed about the scope advisor role. I believe that yes, since for instance, BLAB's role is key for the scope. Do you have any thoughts on what we can do regarding absence of candidates, or you believe it's something that's been managed internally and we should wait? Were there you also love the other ideas? Okay. Yes. What can we say about the scope advisor role? I think that it's something that we start working on as one of our first proposals. So it's a shame that now even like has been almost a year and or less than a year, but there's nothing, no updates regarding this role, or if there's any people or entity in mind. So it's good to bring this topic discussion as well. So you have the question, so it will be really good if the ADs could answer to this. Okay. So that's why with all of this that it's not all the questions that we have been discussed, but there's nothing actually that it's specific, or even when we ask these questions, we have no clarity into this. Well, to give certainty to what should happen to the AVC in this case, we understand that it should be properly clarified in the MIP 113 that there is a distinction between an AVC and its constituent AVC members, and AVC may remain active as long as it is integrated by at least one active AVC member. So, do you think that we should be very clear into this, or in the way that the atlas is as it is now, it's perfectly understandable and there's no like ambiguity? That's also a question. And if not, then we came up with this proposal. So it would be, if an AVC is integrated by more than one AVC member, the voluntary offboarding and or removal and or the recognition of one or more AVC members according to Atlas 2.4.4 and MIP 113 4.1 shall not result in the deactivation of the AVC and its removal from the list in MIP 113 when at least one of its integrating AVC members remains active. So as long as there is one member, AVC member that is active, then the whole AVC cannot be removed. Um, what do you think of this? We, to my what I can recall, we had something like hadn't had something as specifically like this. But if we recall, there was the case of growth AVC, which of course it just disappeared. And probably if there would have been more clarity, okay, if just one member was active, maybe the growth ABC wouldn't have disappeared. I don't know. I'm just putting out there, but what do you think about this? And then we have like another situation. ABC member does not agree with a misaligned decision made by the ABC members that integrates. So what the atlas says is that if an AC, an alignment conserver, is discovered to add against the rules specified in the atlas or the scope artifacts or at misaligned must immediately be derecognized. So this is what the atlas says. So what we said is like if an AVC makes a misaligned decision that has been unanimous or was not objected to by any AVC member, it's clear that the AVC should not be deactivated and all its members derecognized. Also, we have a say into this. We ask for opinion, we ask for feedback, we discuss this topic, and what we didn't come into terms, or we need more answers or some light into this, is this case. Are ABC members who disagree part of the misaligned ABC decision? Should they be treated the same? So what we believe is that, and just let me put out there, but that we have also kind of like discussed this internally. So and what we believe is that in this case, the ABC members who adopted that misaligned decision and those who by their silent or omission allowed it must be sanctioned, but not the ABC members who opposed and disagreed with that decision, since dissenting and trying to prevent a misaligned decision is an aligned act. Again, something that I recall that we should always, I think it was told in one of our calls when we used to have with Runis, was that we should put ourselves in every situation possible, right? And so that's why we believe that this is like the best to have very clear in the proposal. But of course, if most delegates will believe that it's not necessary, and actually it's okay and the way the atlas is, then let's let us know as well if you think that line decision according to the atlas, the ABC members who voted in favor of that decision or who abstained or those who did not vote must be sanctioned, but not the ABC member who expressly and openly opposed and dissented decision. On the other hand, in the event that the misaligned decision made by the AVC was unanimous or was not objected to or not voted against by at least so this is our proposal. So we want to know what do you think about now our I think yeah our question that we have with this is that um would the aligned conduct of that AVC member be met simply if the internal AVC discussions they express their position and vote against the misaligned decision, or should they be required to bring it to the attention of the facilitators and or the maker community to try to avoid that misaligned decision? Um, Again, even the wording or the way that the it, the proposal is structured, if you believe that could be improved, it could be more clear. We have had this help from different delegates when we kind of like post a proposal, and then they help us with the wording, so that also helps a lot. This is not like the final proposal. It's like the idea that we have that could be of course improved, and we'd like to know more about what the our delegates believe. And everyone, only consistent actors. As Marianne says, we hope that the drafting of the news atlas will bring more clarity on the concept of misalignment, since the way it's currently treated in the current atlas is very ambiguous and subjective and has led us to many unsolved discussions. Yes, that reminds me of a very specific point that we made it in also our position document, that it's about the fact that these terms like misalignment, like micromanagement, until these terms are not, or these concepts are not like clearly defined, it's best to refrain from using them routinely in decision making. What do you think? Because there's not like a clear definition, and what it is for me, it might be different from you, and that's when things start to not working well. So yeah, that's an excellent point that we also have shared in our documents, because we've discussed this in our subcommittee meetings. Well, those are just a specific topic, but there's also like the roles of the AVCs. There's also the AVC compensation that we also discuss in here, and we would like more feedback um about, I think this is what comes next, about the concerns that we have regarding the Gov 12, um and oh well, hold on, let me just read here. Oh no, okay, I saw someone typing, but no. Okay, so this follows our next topic, which is about Gov 12, and this is regarding the bootstrapping. What it says in the MIP and the section 12.1, it's that bootstrapping governance votes governance facilitators are empowered to use broad judgment when it's exercising their ability to make direct atlas interpretation and edits to the atlas and to scope artifacts when this relates to unintended consequence of mistakes in the affected documents. Um, this is also something that we are taking from our document, and we have discussed it internally, and we also discussed it during the calls. And probably you all have noticed this is like kind of like an issue, is this is what it's currently or lately happening or lately been happening. It's about this, what has become normal, right, to bypass uh, the period, the discussion period for executive proposals that generates many concerns and questions, not only for us, but I think for different ecosystem actors, governance actors, because this avoids what it is supposed to be a forum for, like having discussions, having debates, sharing perspectives, sharing feedback, asking questions. And so that's why we want to mention and to discuss this, because we find it very concerning uh, about what is been happening. So maybe this is due to the lack of clarity, as most problems should be improved, of course, in the atlas, and kind of like that's why we're all here to so the atlas can improve. um so there is this specific part that we're quoting here, that it says unintended consequences or mistakes in the affected documents. This isn't clear at all. In fact, it's broad and it's a bad concept, that we know what happens when a section is like this. It could cause misinterpretation and uh, lead to bigger problems, right? So for this reason, that's why we're putting here, we and this is from what's our our document. We trust the 80s following sovereign finance AVC to find the proper language in order to avoid the abuse of this tool and set clear guidelines on when it should be allowed. I believe this is a task especially important and relevant for ADs who are involved in the drafting of the new Fairness Atlas. And we'd like to know, what do you think about this? For you, have this been like normal? You have noticed, or it has been also an issue? And like to also have a light into this. But yes, that's why we are have also shared this in our position document, this perspective. And says we also hope that if in the new atlas there is a similar rule to this one, the drafters will detail more precisely when this tool can be used. Yes. So that's why we're also very eager to have this updates from LB in 2 weeks. I think we all are, so we can know more about this. Okay. I think, well, maybe a bigger issue, like than than the other one. It's about the governance monthly cycle. So I don't need to put that much context, but I think we are all aware about the fact that lately the proposals in the forums are presented blank and just uh, without like posting the contents on the MIP, on the MIP 102Z2, and they do um, write the content, or they post the content the last day of the RFS. So of course, with such short term to previous to the frozen period, sometimes it's very difficult to get feedback, to even read. So this is has become also like a habit, um, since one ecosystem actor adopts this behavior, and then the other, and then maybe, and we have discussed the maybe because we are in the bootstrapping stage. Okay, it's not a big deal, but let's also look into the middle term. So what happens when the end game starts, right? So I think that's why it's important to discuss this. Um, Again, we asked for ADs following sovereign finance and for everyone in general, because um, again, maybe right now it's not that big of an issue as it would be when the end game starts, but still, we don't think that only us have noticed this kind of behavior. Do you think that this doesn't affect governance? Do you think this helps with improving discussion? Um, Anna Builder says the second section of COP 12 is even more permissible. The governance facilitators can at any time propose to edit any content of a scope artifact through a governance role. Yeah, that's even more permissible. Okay. Okay. And then we have another concept that I would like to discuss, which is regarding section 2.511, AVC Act through proposing modifications to scope artifacts. So this is regarding again AVC's role, right? Let's this is also has been posted in the forum, and we would like to know, is it appropriate for the AVCs to for the MIN 102 to establish guidelines that address the circumstance detail above, or would this misaligned conduct for this be a misaligned conduct for exceeding its scope of competence? And then we have like different questions that we as AVC don't have the right answer, or we don't have enough clarity, and would help a lot in order for us to have like a better role, or to have a better performance in our AVC role. So these questions you're going to find as well on the forum, and we would like everyone to, especially the 80s, to have this. And I'm just I'll say hi to also to the people from on Twitter that also uh, looking into this. Okay, okay, got distracted for a bit. Okay, so these are the questions I would like to it would help us, and we're going to do a lot of these. Not only show the proposal, but also if there is anything that it's in our perspective or that we have doubts, just put it in the forum. It might help um, understanding. Okay. First of all, this is thank you, shout out to Julia Chang for suggesting this topic. And now it's very clear why. Now that there's the drafters. Uh, Personally, I'm not 100% sure who are the drafters. Apart from Clocky, is there anyone else that it's a drafter? Please. So that way we can ask questions. There is this post the Rune made a couple of days ago, and I would like to start by quoting uh, what he wrote. It's like it's a draft, and he wrote, please don't read too much into the perspective language in the notes. That should only be taken as ideas for input and as a starting point. uh we read it, and it does kind of like give us a little help and light on how and what we like we should focus. And I would like to point out that it's a draft, and it's not complete, and there are a lot of information that it's missing, but I think it does fulfill the purpose of kind of like help us with the brainstorming, right? So especially to the people that are the drafters, if you have more. Oh, yeah, the dream team. So it's Clucky, Trina, and Blue. Wow. Okay. So, have you taken this information into account to like keep elaborating the governance security? We have specific questions, but just to put into context to the people who has not read into the post, um, it kind of like gives an idea, like a guidelines on what should be and what should we all take into account when it comes to the governance security. It also mentions what I believe it's the drafters roles and the reviewers role. Now this is not like the final. I wouldn't say that it is our task, since remember, I want you to read the quote. It's just um, ideas and inputs, but it's not the actual document. It's more like it is a draft. So but it helped us for us to actually give us our feedback when it comes, okay, now we have a little bit of light of what a reviewer's role might be like, and if it's kind of like what should we, because that's what also like discussing, okay, what are we gonna need in order to fulfill the performance, our performance, if this is the actual task or the actual role. And some other information that involves this post, it's about the new DAO executive board process, so how it should be, how it should be the facilitator executive board approval, about the testnet executive board approval, executive sheet, mainnet executive board approval, and it is quite long and this is uh I believe it is the right way, because we're talking about risk, we're talking about security, so we should have everything into account. And well, this that's for as a draft, I think it works pretty well. Now, are you working like into the, and yes, I'm gonna ask like directly to the drafters, to clock it your name blue, like are you using this as a brainstorming, or you are working like in a completely different idea, and now with Rune's post it's going to help for you to, okay, kind of like have like a guideline also that there's some. Oh, okay, perfect. I think Suriname already answered. We're considering Rune's post with the governance security data Cookie mentioned. Governance security data dump stands as remarkably comprehensive, and I expect that a substantial portion of its contents shall find their way into governance security article. Okay, yeah, you're taking into consideration then Rune's post. So it's good that we're discussing this. They're probably gonna ask for feedback, and um to what I believe right now, we are talking just content. So not only technical people, or not only devs uh, can give feedbacks, but everyone, because at least for now, this is what we want to know, is like what should go in every section as the content. Working mostly independently, it is very primarily how it will come together in the workflow. When you say independently, like your name and then a part Clocky and then a part Blue, it's not like a team. It's not the dream team separately. Or you mean that you're not working with Rune? You need any technical knowledge to work in this. Oh, you should talk to Anon Builder. Okay, I see your name and Clocky. Okay. We're not collaborating on assignments. We are each AD to choose. Oh wow. Okay. Do you think that's the proper way to work? Do you think that that's the right dynamic? It works better than to, and it depends. Some people like to work independently, and some others work better as a team. And can I know since when are you started like working into this? Because I know that as always everything changes so constantly. So has this been like very recently? Yes, it's fine. We're just starting. Okay. Atlas Access is still setting up internal resources and structure. Excellent. Are permanently consuming the governance security that okay. Okay. I don't know if there's anyone who would like to know more about this. Actually, we do. We do. Um, we have here um, something very. We put this example, which is from the draft. Let's. I'm going to repeat again. This is not like uh, how it's going to be. But in this part that I'm going to quote, it says ADs have to follow specific requirements for voting on executive votes. They must vote to support and execute the vote if they determine it is aligned with the spirit of the Atlas and safe for the ecosystem. And they must use their voting power to prevent it from executing it. And in this part, initiate action to penalize the facilitator DAOs if they determine it is misaligned and against the spirit of the Atlas or could cause direct or indirect harm to the ecosystem. So I'm highlighting this part, initiate actions to penalize the facilitator DAOs if they determine it is misaligning. Now, taking into account that this is kind of like this is a draft, but what do you think about this? Um, to what I understand is that ADs have the power to penalize facilitator DAOs. Of course, you need it, but what do you think of this? Then, oh yes, I see that you're typing. Into okay, that was that. This is a very interesting section. That again, it could. Do you think that this should be modified, or it's okay like this? Um, when it comes to facilitator DAOs, which is not exactly the same as facilitator. So ADs have the power to penalize, of course, if they have done something misaligned. This is on the post, and I think that there are many more interesting parts and sections that you are going to be working on. So we would like to every like weekly, not every day, but weekly, have an update into how are you working on this. Now, again, it's a draft and it's an idea, and it helps kind of like as a guideline, as brainstorming. We have considering the document, there are some certain parts that should be improved because it's like an idea, so it should be processes and procedures to be more detailed. um the roles and responsibilities, okay, they mention the drafters and they mention the reviewers, and in a way the role that we are going to play, but not really like there are many more things to be more clear about. So for example, as reviewers, it's going to be very helpful in when we know exactly the task that we have. So that's why, and that also, of course, be shown in the document. Of course, we believe that accountability and security measures also should be improved. Maybe in order to have the most accurate knowledge when it comes to these topics, having some experts, maybe as guests, so we can discuss this. It's just an idea that would help all drafters. So yes, we're going to be more specific in the coming calls, but so far this is what we believe, the information that it's has been shared in the post, what should be improved. Okay, these are the questions. Actually, the first one was who are the drafters, but not anymore because we all know now. And some of these you have already answered here. Thank you so much for giving us which is alphas, because yeah, we were like dying to get to know more about this. Um And I suppose, but I'm gonna ask, is there any additional information on plans beyond what has been communicated? What updates can you provide us regarding your current task or drafters? I suppose that you have shared all the updates by now. If not, please do it. Um, and well, this post does not has enough days, but what do you believe that should be added to the post, um or maybe this mix it with the work what you've been doing? Very interesting, because all of you are working individually, so how is it gonna be like, gonna like mix all of your work? For this, I think we need more updates. And then, so far, you already have some tasks, right? What do you think about it? Like, what do you think should change, or maybe you need more details, and one as drafters? And if we focus on the post and what is it says, what the roles of the drafters and the reviewers are, do you think that it's okay, or what can be added? So those are the questions. And before going to, I think, the topic that everyone wants to is more eager to discuss about, um please, if you especially the drafters, what questions would you ask Lewis, because we're trying to have them for the upcoming this conference in 2 weeks for protocol. So please send us all the questions that you may have. Okay, we have put this into the last because I think that this is what the topic that has gone actually viral in crypto Twitter, and not just you know, maker people, just everyone has something to say, has an opinion. And so let's start it. First of all, I would like to ask your perspective into this. If you have been like us, I'm gonna talk about my experience. It was like, okay, I'm going to try to read and to understand this, and how, yeah, at first sight it was like how badly it is. And I would like start like asking who I thought they were like most the people that understands better this. And then it was like, at the beginning it was, I was really concerned, but then as I was understanding a bit more, I was like, okay, okay. But what is your perspective with all of this now? I think that the one of the biggest problem is that there is just so much information now about this, and again, everyone has an opinion. Before, even I think one of the most I don't know if clear, but updated probably. It's about the Sebastian from the Steakhouse Financial that was posted just a few hours ago. And the thing that happens when a topic goes viral, it's that crypto Twitter, right? It has a very like fast reaction, and in everyone, and everyone has a saying. I don't know if you could listen to a very interesting space. We were planning actually to have some experts to discuss this, but then there was this space with Paul from Morpho, with Mark from Ave, with Rune, and there was like a very interesting debate. I thought it was like just gonna be just what is happening, but a good thing, because I think that this sharing ideas and actually debating and discussing, it's good. Um, so if more people could listen to this space, I what is like the one thing that would like to share, and also what you didn't understood before, but now um with the posts and the forums and everything, um it's you are trying to, I mean, you understand now better. Um, there is something that we discussed internally, that it's the fact that probably it was not the best way to talk about this. It's like we are putting like this title, Morphable Debt Sailing to a Billion. This was the forum post title. And of course, if anyone reads this, is going to cause an alarming reaction. So, and of course, for this is not like kind of like the best way to talk about risk parameters, and 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 then and on the space there we're talking about, okay, it's not going to be 1 billion, or it's not going to be 1 million now, it's going to be 600 million. So um something that we can take from all of this is that communication needs to be very clear and done in a way that most people understand. Because if you just put some title, that of course is going to cause this kind of reaction that it's normal. Like the way we see crypto Twitter right now, I don't think that I don't expect it to react any other way. Um, because well, it is. Oh wait. Prudem says the analysis and research that went into the proposal would be better to provide upfront. That's a defensive reaction. Communication issue can improve a lot to prevent negative hysteria. Yes. Yes. And also, we are taking into account the fact that, and if there is something that I'm saying that is incorrect, please go ahead and correct me. But this decision, it's already like it's not gonna go to vote. This is already a decision that's gonna happen, right? So we were kind of like having the issue: are we going to discuss this? It's gonna make any change what's going on. But then we come up with the conclusion that actually talking about it, it's a good way, like trying to understand what is happening, and also because we should be involved. So the timing, it's right. Probably a lot of things is going to happen in the upcoming weeks, and we're going to try to be as updated uh, as possible. Julia just sent an audio. And so but I don't know if there's, especially the experts, please, if there's anything that you would like to add about this. Again, I recommend about and also um something that we should take into account, it's big actors. So how one big actor react influence in a lot of people's reaction. So if one big actor says no, this is like the worst idea, of course your followers, or people are going to believe you, and it's going to cause us, as I read in the chat, like hysteria, right? So um yeah, I cannot listen. But yes, I don't want it to enter into like kind of like the technical stuff. But if I had to like summarize the the post that Steakhouse Financial has shared, Sebastian, BA Labs, there is something that was mentioning in this space. Is like, okay, yes, we should listen to experts. We should listen to the ones that knows about risk. Of course, BA Labs are not the only ones. I mean, the ones, or the only ones that knows about risk in the whole crypto environment. And according to the space, Twitter space, or X space, it says that Maker is currently looking for um more people to take that role as well. And of course, if Maker is going to start like having this kind of um uh of decisions, maybe more experts should be hired, right? um this is also maybe could work as well as advisory scope, a scope advisor. Well, now that's the term. um so I just want to see if there is something that I'm missing mentioning here. um I think that something to calm down most people has been, and this is such a good thing. We always mention, because it's right to mention the negative things that are happening and what should be improved. But I have noticed that in this specific situation, the maker community has worked well in the fact that it has communicate. There were a lot of questions, and there were daily posting about what most people were afraid of or scared of, or even the risk. Okay, what is the highest risks of this? Are you taking into account? And then BA Labs will go and explain what they are doing regarding the risk that they're mentioning. So this helps uh, a lot. I think that this is something that should be done way more. And um, and I want to quote like some things that were said in this space, but it was really good to see perspective from someone that was totally against this decision. uh of course, the ones that made the decisions, and and also people like in general asking questions. So we would we were trying to have something like that, but I think that worked pretty well. Um, but yes, I'm going to finish this just saying that these kind of like complexity concepts that are going on, and the good thing is that all of these experts are trying to explain it in a very or the most easier way possible. Well, has at least tried to calm down the most people. So yes, go ahead and read the article because it explains what is happening and what has been happening in these days with the loans, and most importantly the risk. I think that's we are almost most worried about, right? The risk when it comes to what's going to happen with DAI, what's going to happen with MKR, with the feed mechanism, and also the possibility of liquidation. What happens if the collateral's value drops? So, what are they taking into consideration? And if you think that there's something that they're not seeing, also, I think that we can um, kind of like make some noise about it. This is the perfect um, platform, I would say. And it's always good to have these two perspectives, the ones that are completely against and knowing the reasons why, and for, and kind of like this way have your own perspective. We're going to be sharing as an what we think about of all this as an ABC. So yes, I'm going to share into the updates. Uh, Thank you so much for your active participation. To our 80s, to True Name, to Clucky, of course, to Sovereign Finance members. And that will be all from this first call. That was a great call. I'm really happy. And that's all. See you everyone next week. Bye bye.